Well. Good morning, West Ham fans. Happy Friday. Did you sleep well last night? Jesus. Muggy is the understatement, wasn't it? It was very it wasn't very nice at all. But anyway, I hope you're having you have a great Friday, nice weekend, all that jazz. Now I want to talk about something around West Ham and sort of the business practices of West Ham, because with the impending transfer of Mamie Kudus to Tottenham, it is a very rare occurrence that we actually make a profit on a transfer. Let me just adjust myself. My head's a bit too close to the top. There we go. It's very rare that West Ham actually make a profit on a transfer. And I think with the exception of maybe Kudus and Declan Rice, we as a club aren't very good at selling players. I don't think we're very good at buying players as well, but selling players is something we're not very good at, not very strong. And probably until recently, probably from Steindon era onwards, I'd suggest, the players we bring in and then subsequently sell, we very rarely make a profit on them. Very, very rarely. And I thought, I thought that was sort of, what's the word? Sort of a lazy thing to look at, to just say without going back and actually having a look at the numbers. And it's fucking shocking. So what I did was I looked. Let's take off the logo. So basically, I looked back from, I think it was 2014-15 season, and looked at players we have bought and then those players that have sold. So obviously, it's not including the guys who are still at the club, the likes of Bowen, Souček, Areola. These players who we've actually bought and they're still there. But everyone we've moved on, we've bought and sold in the same way that we've done with Kudus. We've bought him and we've sold him for 10-15 million pound profit, something like that. And that is one of the sort of the main mantras for Potter's transfer guidelines, in that having to being able to create a profit in terms of bringing a player in. We bring a player in, and if we then subsequently sell him, we make a profit on that. Now, again, it's people talk about the Brighton model. You look at someone like Moses Caicedo at Brighton, who they sold for over £100 million. Someone like Mitoma, they bought him for a couple of million. And, the Saudis looking at him for like 80-90 million last January, I believe it was. Anyway, so by doing that, where's it removed? Press, where's the button? That button? We'll do that button. There, you see more of me, you lucky bastards. And that means I can put the thing back on top. There we go. Simples. So I actually tracked. It was actually, I think it's 44 transfers in the last sort of 10 years of players that have been and gone. Not including the academy players coming in, something like Grady Dean gone, not including, like Josh Cullen or Reece Burke or Declan Rice, but players who we've brought in, we actually paid money, and then what's happened with that player since. So in all, it was over £576 million. Million euros. This is in euros because it's done by Transfer Market. So 575 million euros, say, round it up. In terms of what we've sold those players on for, less than 300 million. Of over 286 million. When people go, well, where's our money come from? And why have we got that money? That's it. On top of that, we think of guys such as the whole Pellegrini thing, Moyes, Lopetegui, Potter, all the staff that have come and gone as well. I think it shows basically how we haven't had a strategy before in terms of our transfer strategy, particularly because to lose over 300 million on players we bought and sold shows that we're either, basically buying poorly, we're buying too high and selling too low. Now, there are a couple of them we have made a profit and a slight profit, but there's unsurprisingly not a lot. In terms of 44 transfers I tracked, Now, there may be a few I've missed, like going through the system, but there or thereabouts. It paints a picture. 9 we've made a profit on. 9 of those 44, which is 20%. We made a 20% of our transfers of these 44 we tracked actually shared a profit. And as you can see, it's not a massive profit because we always had a £300 million deficit on what we spent to what we got. And just a few starters for 10. So can I make this full screen? Can I make this full screen? Let's do that. Make it full screen. You can see a bit more. So in terms of these transfers, these are where we've made. This is the worst profit. So it includes people who we've bought and then let go of on a free transfer, and I had as well. So someone like Kurt Zoom, we bought for €35 million. Obviously, we've got 0 for him because we let him go at the end of his contract. Similarly, Felipe Anderson, 35 million. We lost on him in terms of what we bought and what we sold him for. Haller, over half of what we paid. We didn't get that back. Yarmolenko, Fornals, Vlasic, paid a lot of money. Lanzini, we obviously out of his contract. Ings out of contract. Ogbonna out of contract. Antonio out of contract. Fabianski out of contract. Soufal out of contract. Antonio, as we said, Ben Rama, we bought him for a lot of money and didn't sell him for a lot of money. And you can see that it adds up, doesn't it? And actually, when you look at the ones we did make a profit on, they're not massive profits. And actually, Kudus is probably going to be our most profitable player we've bought and sold in the last 10 years. In terms of money, not in terms of percentages. I think if you look at this with percentage, I think we made a nice bit on Payet. We sort of made a 50% profit on him. Flynn, we made a profit on. Ashley Fletcher, we bought. I think we ended up paying £250 million, £250,000. I think we sold him for like £6 million or something like that to Middlesbrough. Eventually, Jackie Coyote, Arnautovic, Obiang, Dawson. Although that you could probably take off the loan fee for that as well. Fernandez, I think the next one down was Sacco, where we made a 0 profit on him. We bought him for €5 million and sold him for €5 million or something like that. So you can see, actually, and I think now if you looked at potentially, case in point, Kudus, like it is when he goes 55 million, we've made about 15 million quid on him, which would be probably about 16, 17 million pound profit, which would probably be our most profitable player we've bought and sold in the last 10 years. Now that's not saying, from a percentage point, it's probably not as much as a percentage increase as Payet, for example. We've sort of speculated to accumulate rather in terms of the Kudus money. And obviously that came from the Declan Rice money, which was 100% profit. So, it's not including those academy players. And obviously that is where the big profit comes from. That's it. That's £100 million worth of profit in terms of Declan Rice was. Grady Ghana was £19 million worth of profit because he, as an academy player. But it just shows you we've never been very good at selling. We've never been good at that sort of transfer process, both ins and outs. And now it's going to be fascinating to see what happens with this money. It's about utilising it correctly, utilising it sensibly, getting as much value out of it as possible, and looking at opportunities where we can make a profit eventually, potentially. Who knows? But anyway, I just thought I'd share some lovely numbers to look at. Anyway, if you're new around here, don't forget to like, comment, share, all that good stuff, and I will see you on the flippity flop. Much love. Bye-bye.